Okay, welcome back to JR Oil Paintings 101. Today we're going to be working with a limited palette. Just have phthalo blue, Prussian blue, black, and white. I'm going to paint a little winter scene here. It's going to be kind of cold. It's going to have a lot of blues and whites in it. So we're just going to go ahead and jump right into it and get started here with a little bitty 2-inch brush here. As you can see, I kind of rearranged everything, so hopefully the angles be a little better and my lighting hopefully will be a little better. So, and excuse my dogs, they're rude. We're going to just tap a little phthalo blue with just a hint of black in it, mainly blue. We're going to have kind of a dark, stormy sky here. A grayish color, bluish gray color. I'm going to start right in the corners like always. Maybe just a little more black. Not that much black in that one, does it? And over here. We're just going to crisscross all the way around. Just back and forth here. I'm going to do the whole sky this way here. Just kind of back and forth. Let it mix up. Just some of the light colors, dark colors here. Just a nice little sky here. And then just kind of take the brush strokes out. Nice and light back and forth here. Blend it to the degree you like. If you like to see brush strokes in your painting, leave them in there. I personally don't, but that's just me. So, there's our nice little sky here. And we're not going to have any water in this, so we're going to just put in a few clouds. A grayish color clouds here. So I like to use some fan brush. This is a number 3 fan brush. I like it better with the clouds than the bigger ones. You can, at least I can control the size of clouds that I have with the number 3 more than I can anything else. And just a little bitty touch of black. We're going to have a nice gray color here. We'll have some gray stormy clouds up there. Let's see if we can pull this off today. Sometimes it works for me, sometimes it don't. So I gotta see where we're gonna put our little cloud here. I think we'll go right up here where the little darkish. Just kind of tippy tap it in there. However you want your cloud to look. That's a little bit grayer than I want. We'll highlight some of it and darken it up some here. And get back up in there a little bit. That's pretty cool shape. Just kind of twist your brush in here around. Let it spin. Pardon me, my allergies are just acting up today, so excuse the coughs and the sniffles and sneezes and stuff. I'm trying to work through it, but my allergies are not happy today. So we're just going to take our big brush, just the corner of it, and just give it some little turnies here, just little circles. We're just going to just turn around here, mix it up real good. Try not to disturb that top edge just yet. We'll give it a quick go through here. Touch it where you want it to. And we'll get some different colors in here. I'm just going to shake off the excess paint. So don't get back in that nice bluish gray color there. Now we're going to fluff this sucker up. Right, got some hair right there. My brushes are shedding a little bit. I'm just going to fluff it up just a little bit. And then very lightly, just blend that cloud out just a little bit. About like that. Now then, we're having a pre-storm here. We're going to have some more clouds. So we're going to get just a little bit of Prussian blue along with the black, mixing that color that we just had. Get a little darker color here, a little bluer than the gray. With some variations of white. Just mix that color on your brush so you have black, blue, and white on your brush. Now we're going to I'm going to leave this area over here alone for now. So we're just going to tap in some really nice dark clouds. I'm going to overlap that one just a little bit. Get you a nice storm clouds going here. A nice wintry mix here. On a nice winter day. I don't have too many of these days down here in Texas. I enjoy them when we do have them. I just have too many hot days for me. I was born and raised here. Anyway, we're just going to take a tip of that brush again, that corner of the brush, and just mix it up. Just don't touch that top edge just yet. We'll blend it out here a little bit, just like we did the first one. Like that right there. We'll go up here just a bit. And we'll just zippy zooey around here. Get that. Wipe the excess paint off the brush. And just give it a nice, when you're fluffing your clouds up like this, just barely touch the canvas. Just barely. Just think of it like you're just trying to touch the paint on the canvas, not the canvas itself, but paint just a little above the canvas. And then just very gently, back and forth, till it's as blended as you want it. If you like a little rougher looking cloud, don't blend it quite as much. If you want a rougher looking cloud, like I said, if you want a rougher looking cloud, just don't blend it quite as much. If you want a little smoother, a little further away, just blend it a little bit more than I have. So I think we're going to darken it up and get one more little cloud. Maybe I said I wasn't going to touch this area, but I like to change my mind. We're allowed to do that. You change your mind a lot doing this. That's why I like this style of painting. With the oil paints, you can change your mind and do whatever you want. Darken up just a little bit more here. I'm just mixing the brush, the colors on the brush. It's blue, Prussian blue, black, white, until I find one that I think will work. Now, we're going to push these clouds back just a little bit. That's why I decided we'd go over here. We're going to have a real stormy looking cloud, really dark cloud. You're going to come across here. I'm going to put these guys up. And these guys are, remember the landscape, the further back is going to be lighter than the ones up front. So these guys right here are further back. This guy here is going to be in the foreground just a little bit. We'll have another little one right here. Just a little one. I'm going to take that big brush again. Wipe the excess paint off of it, just like we did those before. We're just going to take little circles, just circular motions, just the corner of the brush. Yeah, it's hard to see what I'm doing because my cameraman, he's not real good. And if any of you've seen any of my videos before, you know I'm the cameraman, so I'm not real good. I just got it plopped up on an old, my camera plopped up on an old easel right beside me here. I'm trying to get the best angle for you as I can. One of these days, I hope to have somebody volunteer to come and help me. Anyway, here we go. We're gonna just fluff it up just a little bit. Both of them. Just fluff that little fella right on up. Get rid of the extra paint. And we just back and forth. Real light. Now we got something else hanging on there. And there we go. I think that'll do it for our sky. It's just pretty stormy looking sky, isn't it? That's all right. That's what we want. That's what we're looking for. So, or at least what I'm looking for. Now we're gonna mix up a little bit of mountain color. I want to have a little mountain in the background here. Actually, I'm gonna have two. I'm gonna have one that's a little further back, and the other one I have one right here that's kind of far back, and one in the big mountain. So you bet you can guess which colors I'm using for that, for our mountain color. Since we only got 4 colors, we're gonna use 3 of them. We'll just use the Prussian blue, phthalo blue, and black. Loosely mix it up. Paper towel here and wipe my knife off. And we're going to take a little bit of that color we just mixed up, put it over here. We're going to lighten it up just a little bit with a little bit of titanium white. He's going to be in the background, so he's going to be a little lighter than the big mountain up front. I love painting mountains. They're a little challenging at first, but I really enjoy painting mountains. I just love them. Get to paint on the very tip of your knife right there. That's what you're going to be using here. So we just decided where this little old mountain's going to be, and I think we'll just go right here. This looks like a good spot for it. Don't get little teepees like this and just keep doing this. They'll look like a little fake Indian village or something. No. Try to avoid doing that. So if you do, just come back around and smooth it out just a little bit. And we'll be scraping off a lot of this color because we want our next, to make the highlights and lowlights stick a little easier. We're going to have a little mountain right here because we'll have a bigger one shortly. I think that'll do for a good far off mountain right here. Just like that. And I'm going to take my 1-inch brush, not the 2, just because it's a smaller mountain. So we're going to take it and try not to disturb that top edge. Just pull it down that same angle. And yeah, that's a big deal. And you can come down this way. You have your highlights and your lowlights here. You gotta remember which way your light's going to shine here in a little bit. We're going to figure that out. And then just kind of back and forth just a little bit. Just going to blend that out into nothing. It comes down here. Same way here. Because in a far off mountain, you're just going to really see the top edge up there. I'm going to see too much else. So we're going to go back to wherever I put my big knife. I just had that little feather. Oh, there it is. There he is. There he is. Half the time I lose my stuff before I know what I'm doing. All right, we're just going to get some titanium white for our highlights. And in my eye, I always go from the right or the where the light's shining from the right. You can do it from the left or wherever, but I'm right-handed, so I think it's easier for me to come in from the right. Now you don't want this too bright here, so if it's, see how bright that is? We want it a little bit darker. So just take your knife, a clean knife, and just go over it a couple of times. It'll pick up that color underneath it, darken it up just a little bit. And let's see, we're going to take our little knife, and because this little guy, he ain't gonna have much of a, he's gonna be back here in the background. And like I say, it gets too bright, just go over it a couple of times. It'll smooth out, and it'll grab some of that color underneath, and it'll look further away. Now we're going to take some more just regular titanium white on our little brush here, and just come down right here. Remember the angles. You're going to follow your angles of where your mountain is here, and just keep going, because all this is a little bit of contrast and a whole lot of angles on your mountain. All it is shape of your mountain is your angles, and we're going to come back here and follow him down just a little bit. He's going to be cut in front of these two. You can do whatever you want with these. Shoot, I did one of these paintings that was all red, and whew, well, you talk about a bright little mess. It really was. Got it back there one of these days. I'll bring it out and show you some of these that I experimented with it sometimes. I'm not sure about. But it was all red and white and alizarin crimson. It was the only three colors I used on that. And it, boy, you talk about bright red. Woof. There we go. Now then, I'm going to stick with this small knife, and we're going to mix up a little bit of low lights. We're going to take our little mountain color, what we just used, add a little more white to it. I want it a little bit darker than the mountain color. A little bit lighter, excuse me. A little bit lighter than the mountain color. Let's see if that'll work here. You can always change the color. We're going to hit this little one first. See if we got this right. I don't know if you can see that or not on there, but I'm going to darken it up just a little bit for y'all so you can see it. I'm sure you can see that. Sometimes the colors don't show up as well on the camera as they do in person here, so I just have to kind of trial and error here and say we're going to go just a little bit darker there. All right, we're going to lighten it up then. Hey, can't even see it myself, and I'm sitting right in front of it. Just a touch of blue. We're going to add a little bit of phthalo blue to this mixture. Change the flavor up just enough. Hopefully we can see it. We don't want a whole lot of color because it's way far off in the distance here, but yeah, we're going to make that work, I guess. sometimes things don't work the way you want it to. You just have to play with it a little bit, back and forth with the light and the dark. Eventually you'll get there. Hopefully, I just got there. Let's see what happens. There we go. Now you can see, or at least I can see it in person. I don't know if you can see it on the camera or not. I'll try. Some of this will be covered up anyway. I'll put a tree or two in front of it. There we go. You can see that, I can guarantee you. You're just going to follow wherever you put the highlights. You're going to have these low lights in there. Every highlight deserves a low light. You got to have it. The big brush, or the big palette knife. You can paint with it. I guess you can call it a brush if you want to. And remember the angles right here. If you get some, if you get too, or don't break, get too thin, and don't break, go back in. Once you put these on here, put you some different color in there. Now, see how straight that line is? Not real crazy about that, so we're going to fix that real quick, because I don't like that. To me, it doesn't look quite right, so we're going to add this right here. I'm just going to add a little peak here. Soften that up just a little bit there. And it's got to have its low lights too. It don't look quite right without it. There we go. There. And that is a faraway mountain. Now, I'm going to put some mist in there in the bottom back of this mountain here. So take your little brush. You take your 1 inch, 2 inch brush, whichever, and just tap. But remember the angles where you put this in, and tap in those angles. So you got to keep those angles coming the same way, or it's going to look like you just cut your mountain off. And these are going to go the other way. They came straight down here like this. So you got to do this and this the same way, just a little bit. Like that. And then just very gently, just pull up just a bit, take the tap marks out. There we go. Now we got our little misty, far away mountain. And here in just a second, you're going to see what makes it look so far away. Because we're going to go some nice dark color in front. We're going to put a big mountain in front of it. I'll say big, it's not going to be huge. It's going to be big. I'm going to get that roll of paint on here, on the end of your knife there. Oh, you can see that there. Yeah, that's better. And, so we're going to go just a little bit in front of this mountain. Don't get way back here, you're going to eat that whole mountain up. So get just a little bit in front of it and decide where your first big peak is. I'm going to say it's going to be right here. And then we're going to just follow it down. Put a peak right there too. And this one has a lot more blue in it than that other one. So it's a darker color, and it's going to look closer than this one is over here. Put a little bump right here too to finish it. Just wipe my knife on a paper towel here. We're just going to keep playing with this until you have what you want. And I would recommend that if you start out, if you've never painted a mountain before, don't get one with a whole lot of peaks at first. Start out with just a 1 or 2 peaker, and it'll get you used to how to handle the knife and everything. And get you used to everything. So. I didn't do that at first. When I first started out, I was going to be, I just thought I could just paint just as well as anybody. And just started out with a huge peak. And 15 peaks at once. Boy, it didn't look right. It did look like a wigwam village for a while there. I figured out what I was doing wrong and fixed it. Fixed my technique, how to do that. So, there's my mountain. I just gonna put a little bit of color in there, that's it. And you take our knife, our brush. Well, I got the 1-inch brush doing all this. So just remove your angles and try not to disturb that top edge. We keep it as crisp as you can. And just follow your lines. Just come on down. Any angle you want, really. Try to avoid going straight down unless you want a big cliff. If you pull straight down like that, it's going to look like a big cliff, a sheer cliff. And if that's what you want, that's fine. But it's not what we're looking for. That's not what I'm looking for today. Just try to avoid that top edge there. She's almost ready for our highlights and lowlights. You could lay out a distant mountain just like this, with just using your brush to do the highlights and lowlights. Because look, when you pull, you see the brush strokes, and there you can lay out your whole mountain and look a little further off in the distance. But so you can do all kinds of stuff with these brushes and knives and everything. Now we're going to go back to titanium white, just regular old titanium white. Now, this is where you got to be real careful. When you get your roll of paint on that knife, when you start putting your highlights on there, just grab it with 1 or 2 fingers, and you're going to do this very, very gently. You got to have a really light touch. This is the part that takes a lot of practice on these mountains, because you feel like you're going to drop the brush, but don't put any pressure on the blade. No pressure at all. Just grab it and just pull. Just come on. Remember your angles here. Now, when this one's in front, you don't want to go over that white too many times, because it'll start looking like this. So you want a brighter white when you got the ones up front. So just 1 or 2 passes do it. And we want to get that all the holes in your white. You want the paint to break. That's what makes it look like a mountain. Otherwise it'll look like you just frosted a cupcake or something. And that's not what we're looking for today. Now we're going to do just give that a little push right here. Kind of a C. So it'll look like there's a valley here. And we'll put the low lights in, we'll do it this way. I'm just going to go like that angle right there. Just wipe off your brush in between strokes, get you fresh paint, fresh white paint on there. And we're going to go down. See how that's pushed that mountain in the background back there? It looks way in the distance there, doesn't it? Yeah, that's just the 3 basic colors we're using today. There's the 2 colors of blue and the black and the white. So we got the value of those. We're just playing with the value of these colors. And it takes some practice, believe me. I practice this. Still have trouble with it every once in a while. I've been at it 14 years. It took me. Some of us learn slower than others. But I'm a very visual person. I've got to see it, how it's done, and everything before I catch on to it. I can't remember if it was my wife or my mother that bought me a Bob Ross book, a how-to book. And I tried reading it and copying it from him. It wasn't until I actually started watching his show that I started picking it up a little bit better. But I have to actually see what he's talking about. You can tell me something and I'll say, oh, okay, I see what you're talking about. But I don't. Most of the time, I really have to see it before I actually glob onto it. So, hopefully, I can teach y'all a little bit just by showing you how to do this. Some of you are actually trying this technique for the first time, or any kind of technique for the first time. If you're having trouble, just give me a shout. My email, I'll give you my email, or just ask me a question in the comments. I'll try to answer it best I can. I like to have a little bit of I don't like to have that hard line on all of them. They kind of start looking like the same thing over and over again. So try and vary your shapes a little bit. Like so. Like I say, you don't want to go too light on these, or it'll start looking like that back there, and then you'll lose that illusion of distance that we've got going on so far. I think we'll get the smaller brush for that. I keep trying to use a brush. I'll get the smaller knife. There we go. I want to thank everybody that's tuned in so far and subscribed to my videos. If you're watching this and you like it, hit the subscribe button. It don't cost nothing. Shoot, I'd appreciate it. I do appreciate it. The ones that have done it already. So we have a little bit of shining on there. Now we'll go to our color. We're going to mix up a little bit different color than we had for the low lights here. We're just going to go some titanium white and a little bit of phthalo blue. I'm going to mix that up here. Too much blue. Mix it up a little bit more. Now, phthalo blue and Prussian blue are very strong colors. It does not take much to get the look you're looking for, let me tell you. It just takes a very little bit. And you may think you're doing a little bit, and it turns out to be a lot. Because it doesn't take much to change color. And when you're mixing on your palette, just pick the whole blob of paint. If you want a good mix, a good tight mix on your paint, pick the whole pile of paint up, turn it over, and you'll get a better mix out of it. Loosely mixed, it doesn't matter. But with this, I want more of a uniform color for the low lights here. Do. And now we'll put our low lights in. And we'll just take off that little roll of paint again. Just like that. That's very important right there. That paint right there. That's what you're painting with. Now here we're going to go just like this. We're going to swoop up just a little bit at the end, because that's where to make our little valley here. gonna zip. Just do a little C stroke, just like that. And if you don't like something, you can always go back and take it out or smooth it over. Like that. And if you do what I did there and go just a little bit too dark, take you some of your dark color, put it in there, and then it didn't see that paint didn't break until you put just a little bit of that dark color in there. It looks like it's got the little holes in it in the background for your low lights. Because it's just like putting on the highlights here. You still got to put that. You still got to have that break in there in that paint, or it won't look right. A little bit more of the low light color here. Just like that right there. So we're gonna have a little two value jobber going on here. Now with this one here, you got this little shadow. This, to me, that always took me a little bit to figure out how to do that. Just get you a little knife here and get in there. Get a little roll of paint on your knife and bring it straight down. It takes a lot of control, so you don't wipe out that peak right there. Just takes a bit of practice is all. And then you just put it right in front of these and see it push that one back and back. And he's a little further back. All these big guys are in the front. I like to do this guy first. I'm gonna put him right here. That way he's already got his low lights in there before we put this guy's in there. And then we just add this guy right here. It pushes him back. Pushes that guy in the back there. I think I've said this in one of the other videos, but if you don't like something, shoot, cover it up. And remember, this is just called the background. We're gonna have some foreground stuff. We're gonna be a snowy. It's gonna be a winter scene here, so we're gonna have some trees with snow on it and all that good stuff. So we'll have some evergreens that we'll have some snow up front here and all that good stuff. So just play with your color here, your highlights and your lowlights, and there you go. You got one mountain close, one further away. Now we take our 1-inch brush and do what we did here. We're going to tap the base of this. Remember the angles you got going on here. Tap in your angles. But if you tap straight down, it'll look like somebody cut your mountain off. And I don't think we want to do that. That's not exactly what we're looking for. Over here, you're just going to tap in this way. Right there. And then we're going to wipe our brush off. And then just gently pull in the direction that you very gently, just barely touch that canvas. Just take off the tab marks. Remember, pull up in the same direction you tapped it in there. And then there we go. Right there, we got your two basic little mountains. Pretty good so far, I think. Our little dark sky and our little mountains. Now, I think we need some little far off evergreen trees going. Well, you gotta get some evergreens coming up this way across this mountain, and then we're gonna kind of taper off and put it in here. You got a little valley in there, so we're gonna clean off a little spot to work here. My palette is pretty good size, but it still gets really full. So we're going to take our fan brush. This is a number 6 fan brush. So it's a little bigger than the one we used. In fact, I think we'll just use the one we were using. This one we made the clouds with. It's already dirty. We'll pull it in that same dark color we made the mountain out of. Now this being a winter scene, I didn't put any green on my palette. Because you don't want green snow. It's almost as bad as yellow snow. So we're going to make a far off evergreen trees. We're just going to take, actually, yeah, we did that. We're just going to pull straight down, just little strokes like that, just back and forth. And if they're a little too dark at first, just keep tippy tapping them, and they'll get lighter. And I did find one thing out that I learned that don't look quite right if you have just a solid straight line of trees. You got your mountains out here, but your trees are all straight. Looks like you put up a fence. Well, that's the look you're looking for, go for it. But just to me, it doesn't look quite right. You know what I'm saying? I say, it looks like you had just a fence. That's what you're looking for, go for it, man. But that's not quite right to me. So we're going to keep going right up here, and this is just going to pull down. You decide where you want your little row of trees, or if you may not want your trees right there. So if you go in front of your mountains or your trees or whatever you got in there, that'll push everything that you go on top of behind. Gives you a feeling of distance and depth in your painting. That's what a lot of people are looking for. Or so I've been told. At least that's what I'm looking for. I like a little distance in my paintings. So we're going to go over this little tree, We're going to go over this little mountain with some little trees. You'll notice I get a little tongue-tied sometimes. Not used to narrating my paintings yet. So, you have to excuse me if I don't say what I mean the first time. You get quite a bit of paint on your brush. And like I say, if it gets too dark, just go over it again. Because you don't want these really too dark, because they're far away trees. We're going to put another little row of trees right in front of this one to push these back a little, and then we'll start working in the foregrounds. But you want these, to me it looks better if these are more of an angle and little rolling hills, because you got a mountainous area, these big old beautiful mountains, it ain't all of a sudden going to start turning flat on you. So you got to remember, this is kind of helping you with the lay of the land, so to speak, which way how your land's going to roll, and that'll help you in the foreground to where we're going to put snow and everything on there. So just trying to keep that in mind when you're putting these little fellers in there, because they can turn flat on you in a second. But that's why we put this little mist in there. It's kind of a separator between the mountain and the trees. Vary the sizes of your trees. You ain't gonna all have them one size. You're gonna have some taller ones and some shorter ones in there. So just keep doing that. and you'll eventually have a nice little overgrown forest in there. And here, I don't know if you can see this or not, but when you're working with a fan brush, sometimes when you load your paint, your brush, load both sides, but you'll notice it has kind of a smiley face look on it. If you'll take and lay it on your palette, load one more side just a little bit, it'll straighten that fan brush, it'll straighten that out. And you need it pretty straight when you're doing these evergreens. So otherwise you'll have some really wild looking trees that don't make any sense. Of course, if you're looking for wild paintings, you don't have to do anything I'm doing. This will just give you an idea of some different things. You want these kind of a little bit lighter in color because they're going to be far off. And like I said before, everything in the landscape, the closer it gets to you, the darker it's going to get. So just trying to remember that, and just don't put a lot of pressure on your brush when you're doing these, just very lightly. And they'll work out for you, hopefully, with a little practice. Try not to, if you're doing this for the first time and it doesn't work for you the very first time, don't get try not to get too discouraged. Just try to remember how you did what you was doing and see what it is, see how you can correct it. Reach out to somebody, just like I say, you can touch with me through the comments and everything, and I'll try and figure out together we can figure out what you was doing, try and help you fix it. But to me, there's nothing like creating a really pretty painting from a blank canvas with just a little bit of paint and a couple of brushes. And a little bit of time too. I normally don't paint too much during the week. So I gotta work Monday through Friday, but that's why I went to this one, because it's limited palette, so we're gonna have very limited cleanup. I'm not gonna waste a whole lot of paint if I don't clean the palette up right away. And oil paints will last a little bit on your palette, a day or two. But if you really want to, like if you're going to walk away from it for anything longer than a day or two, cover the whole palette, all your paint, with just some saran wrap, and it'll last close to a week without drying out. I'm going to take a little brush here, and we're going to tap in. Don't tap in with the crossway here. Tap it in up and down for yeah. You know what I'm trying to say. Gotta have that mist in there. It's going to separate for the next batch. Our next row of trees may not go all the way across, but we'll see how we're feeling, see how it's looking. But this cleans up the bottom edge of those trees and gets it ready for whatever you're going to put in next. kind of get some of that paint off of it. And then very gently, just pull straight up with this over your trees. It'll give them a little sharper edge on top, make it look more like trees. Just go straight up and just barely touch the canvas. Just barely touch your paint. Don't go way high, just like that. You have streaks in there, it just doesn't look right. And then we'll pull up on our mist just a little bit. There we go. And then we got a nice little row of trees in front. I'm not going to cut this one off. I mean, we are at almost an hour, but I'm on a roll. I'm going to keep on going. So, this may be a longer video than some of you are used to. Or maybe you like long videos, I don't know. I like them myself because I don't have to stop filming or videoing and then start over. So now we're going to do this again. We're going to have just a little bit darker. We'll put a little more black on the brush than we had. Just add it to the brush. And same way, just pull down, but go down a little bit further. Leave some of that mist in there. And these are a little darker because they're a little bit closer. And we needed that darkness to separate along with that little misty area. See how it's separating there? That's what we wanted. But see, if you just go straight down or one size, that don't look quite right. It looks more like a fence, doesn't it? So, just vary your sizes. And if that happens to you, just go back in, put a few more in, a few bigger, taller trees. Just paint over them. And all you're doing is putting in these for a nice little background. We're going to have a lot of snow and some hills and trees and bushes and all that fun stuff. And remember, this is just phthalo blue, Prussian blue, and black of varying degrees of what you put in here. You can change the flavor up, a little bit of white here and there, and you got all kinds of fun stuff. It's going to look like you have several different colors going here. You only got to 2 or 3, rather 4. You count white as a color. You do, because it is, sort of. Anyway. And we're gonna, we'll just keep doing this. I think we'll go ahead and have this go all the way across again. Just cause I'm liking the way that's looking. Alright, we're just about give us a nice little background here. this is going to help you figure out what your foreground is going to do. Whether you're going to have some rolling hills just under these trees. You can see it's already taken shape right here. This is a pretty good way to get you a little river if you wanted to, because what you could have done here is take these down and stop them around here, bring this one right in front, and then you could put you a little river, waterfall, and all that good stuff. But this being a winter scene, I didn't want any water in there for this one, but I think we're going to do a waterfall maybe this weekend. I like waterfalls. They're really pretty, and they make for a really striking painting, really pretty painting when they're done correctly. And there we go. Now, normally I would just take and we put that mist in there, but not this time, because this time what we're going to do is we're going to take our big 2-inch brush and go through the titanium white. Just pull both sides through the titanium white. That's all we're going to have on the brush is titanium white. And we're going to have a little bit of snow. And this is what we're going to do. Now, when you're doing snow, you want to pick up some of this background color, because that's going to be your shadows in the snow, or your low lights of the snow. So we're going to have snow coming down right here, and just follow that line. However you want that line to look. Just back and forth. Don't worry if it gets too dark. We can always lighten it up. Takes a little bit, but it can be done. And see when you pick up those shadows or that color, and you can go from this way. This is the fun part. You can go from this way and put another way. There's your little hill in front of the one we just made. Isn't that cool? And just keep going like that. Just like that. And you got some rolling hills with a little bit of, and you keep doing this the whole way. When you're starting to add more trees and more bushes and stuff, just pick up a little bit of that color and continue. And that's what we're going to do. I'm not going to put any over here because that's going to be more in the distance. So we're going to go up here. We're just going to add a little bit of white underneath. If you start putting trees in, these big evergreens, putting in snow just behind an evergreen, oof, that is a pain, let me tell you. So try and think just a little bit ahead about what you're going to do. In fact, I'm going to put a little bit of this color all the way down. I'm going to cover up what we don't want. This way we have snow already behind everything we're going to do. We'll make it less flat down here in a minute. Put my brush over there. pardon my arm. Sorry, my fingers get stiff. Now we're gonna put in some evergreens, some evergreens and some bushes over here, and you'll see what I'm talking about. And we're gonna go in that same color, maybe just a little bit darker with some more Prussian blue and black. We're gonna have, yeah, we're gonna do that one. I thought about switching to a bigger brush, but I don't think so. We're doing good on this one because this ain't gonna be a huge one yet. Don't think. Nah, not yet. We'll do this one. We're gonna go right in front of all these trees that we made and their little mountain here. We're gonna start with just a little line. That's gonna be kind of your center point of your tree. I know you probably can't see that on there. Yeah, you can. It's right there. See, it's right here. This little line. Okay. And make sure you got plenty of paint on that brush. I got it all the way over the ferrule. Probably a little too much paint, but that's all right. We're gonna start with just this corner of the brush up at the top. Don't go straight on top of that line because you want that line poking above your tree just a little bit. Kind of looks like the trunk of the tree sticking out just a little. So just go just below that at an angle and touch and get a little pressure back and forth. And just make a little tree shape. And back and forth. That's all you're gonna do. Just a little bit further down, I think. Yeah, not like that. And we got us a nice little evergreen tree right there, don't we? Let's put another one next to it. Not very many times you see just one little evergreen by itself. Just like we did there, now you decide which side you're gonna do. On this side, that side, this side, that side. Let's go with this side. We're gonna make him just a little bit taller. Start with that little line. I have done that line all the way down to where I want it, but sometimes I get a little off center, so I just make about half a line there. And make sure I got plenty of paint on the old brush. And just like that, touch. And just go back and forth. And when you're going back and forth, further down the tree you get, just add a little bit more pressure to it. Because you want all the little hanging downs coming down from your tree. These little hanging downs right here. I know they're a little hard to see on some of these, but they're there. There we go. Now we got two evergreens. We'll separate them out with the highlights in just a minute. These are just kind of your low lights. I think we're going to just have two right there for right now. And let's put in a bush or two. What do you say? I think so. For the bushes, yeah, we'll go with this nice little oval brush. And see how it's rounded at the top. This makes really good bushes and different kinds of trees. So we're just going to kind of tap a little bit of color into this brush. Like that right there. And then just make you some bush shapes. Kind of follow how you want your how you want your land to lay. This one's already going down a little bit like that, so we'll just keep it going. And we'll stop that right there, I think. Now we need some on the other side. It ain't gonna stop just right there. We'll put a little bit of in front up here. About like that, I think. There we go. Now then, we'll paint that right there. And now we'll take our, there it is. I lost my paintbrush. We'll take our big 2-inch brush that had the snow on it. I tell you what, before we put the snow on it, let's do something else here. we're going to take a clean 2-inch brush. Well, now let's do the highlights on these guys first. Yeah, I think so. I'll do this one. I like to have two of each brush. That way I'm not washing brushes, and I can get this done and not bore you with washing brush. So what we're going to do here is take our liquid white and go into a titanium white. Just loaded lots of color on there. With just a touch of blue in there. We're going to have our highlights in there, our lowlights. Have our highlights over our lowlights here. And it's going to be mainly blue. A little light color of blue with a bit of liquid white and titanium white in there. And I like phthalo blue as a highlight color because it's a little brighter, more cheerful blue than Prussian blue. Prussian blue is very beautiful, but it's also very dark. And you got to decide which one of these two little critters is in the foreground and which one's in the front. Foreground and front is the same one. So which is in the background and which one's in the foreground? That's what I needed to say. You knew what I was talking about, right? So we're going to have this big dude up here behind this one. This one right here is going to be the front, I think. So most of this guy's going to show more than this guy. Now we know our light's coming from this direction over here. So that's where most of our highlights are going to be. So just touch. We're just going to have a little bit of highlights on him. It'll get darker as you go down. And then we're going to have this guy, the next guy. Nice. He's gonna get highlighted up. And then we're just gonna go beep, 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 beep. Just like you did the dark color here. We're just there we go. And there you go. Got your two little evergreens. Ain't that pretty? They are for a fact. Now we're gonna have my oval brush because we need these highlight up too, don't we? Now what we're gonna do here, I'm a little different. We're gonna take titanium white and liquid white. I guess I forgot to mention at the start of this, this is a wet on wet technique. I just assumed everybody knew that, so we're not going to assume anymore. This is a wet on wet technique, so I coated the canvas with liquid white to start with. It's a real thin oil-based white paint. You could get a thin, even coat to start with, and then you can put your sky in and all this good stuff. So what I got on the brush here is that liquid white and titanium white. The liquid white is to thin it out because we're going to have some little frosty bushes here if we do this right. It's going to look really cool. And then we're just going to touch. And if you got enough, there we go. And if you get enough liquid in there, or thin it out, if it's not sticking too well, just get you some paint thinner or more liquid white on your brush. And it'll come off the way you want it to. So we're just going to, now don't cover up all of the dark, because the dark's going to show, it'll give your bush dimensions. And if you cover everything up, well, it's just going to look like a big old white spot. And you don't want to do that. You want to have some color. You want to have some depth in your paintings. You just keep doing this, and it's going to be a little darker under these trees. It's not going to be quite as bright. So just remember to do that, and you'll have a whole row of pretty little bushes. Like I say, just to me, the winter scenes are so pretty. I love winter. I don't, probably because I don't have very much of it here in Texas. I would imagine if I lived somewhere where it was winter all the time, I probably wouldn't like it as much. So we'll take our 2-inch brush. No, we won't. Forgot what I was doing. Half the time I don't remember what I'm doing, people. So we'll take our 2-inch brush, one that has the snow on it. And here's where we're going to do a little more lay of the land type work here. We're going to take this 2-inch brush, we're going to put another layer of snow right here and let it pick up some of that color. Like I say, it's going to have shadows in it now. And then we'll just take it and lift up there at the end there. And I don't like that, so but we're going to do it anyway. It's going to be covered up. You'll see. One thing I have noticed, do not stop in mid-stroke or you'll have a line like that right there. There we go. That cleans up all them little the bottom of all them little bushes. Get you a little more lay of the land here. Now, one thing you should watch out for is don't get your hills too humpy. I have some paintings in there that the first snow scene I did, well, it looked like it had a pregnant mountain right there. It just had a big old hump in the middle of it. Did not look right at all. So, here we go with some more evergreen trees. So what we're going to do here is I like these up here, so we're going to put one big one right here, and then we're going to have maybe a smaller one here, and then we're going to have some right here, and then we're going to finish this up. And so just take your fan brush. You can use either size fan brush. I just had this number 3 already going, so I'm sticking with it. So I don't want one. I like that little peak right there, so I'm not going to cover him up, but I think I am going to go just below him and put, there's our little line for starting with. There's a little black in there, we're going to make it a little darker. Yeah, there we go. And then just below the very top of that line, we'll go just below it, touch, and then go back and forth, touching, and put a little bit more pressure as you go down. And if this doesn't stick, just get a little bit of paint thinner on your brush. And we're gonna cover up all them pretty bushes we just put in. I do that all the time, boy. I tell you, I do get some pretty bushes in there. But this is why I put in all these background stuff like I do, because I don't know exactly what I'm painting when I do this. I had no idea what I was going to do when I sat down here a while ago. I'm just doing this as I go. Whatever I see, think might make a pretty painting, I do. And we're going to do like that. And then we got a big old strong mountain, or big old strong evergreen right there. And maybe we'll have a bush or two there, and we'll put them over here. We're going to the black, Prussian blue, and then our mountain color, and really darken it up a bit. And if this doesn't stick for you, just get you a little bit of paint thinner on your brush, and it will. Now we're gonna have one. I need to cover up all my bushes a little bit. Let's see here. What are we gonna do? I think we're gonna have some bushes here. So let's cover up some of our hills over here. Oh, I shouldn't move the paint anymore. I should move. I have a bad habit of moving my easel and not me. So, excuse me if I ever do that. We're going to have one, a big one right here, to cover up some of this. Just because he's got that, see that's going to make some nice contrast with this lighter color and a big old dark evergreen right there. We're going to have a good one here. All right. And we're just going to do that right there. So we're going to go just below the top of that and just touch. And just kind of go back and forth. And just, you're going to add a little bit more pressure as you go down. Don't slide your brush, pick it up all the way off the canvas. Otherwise you're going to really not like what the result is. Not going to look right. Just getting a little more paint on the brush. I was running out. Once you start doing this, you'll figure out by the feel of the brush, when it's in that dark color, you don't know exactly what well, you can't hardly see it until we get the highlights on there. We're just doing the low lights right now. We'll have a little highlight, a little low light, and then we'll have, at the end of it, hopefully, a very pretty tree. These things get bigger at the bottom, so remember that. Don't just keep it one straight color or one straight size. Get a little bit of, anyway, that looks like a natural stopping point for that one, don't you think? Let's see, should we put another one in there, or should we leave it like that? I'm thinking I'm gonna leave it just like that. I kinda like that. So now we're gonna go into our bush shape here and do the same thing. Just get some black, some blue, Prussian blue in our mountain color. Tap it in there. And some good strong colors. We're gonna get you some bushes over here. And remember, don't keep your brush in one angle. Move it around so you get different varieties of bushes and stuff when you're doing this. Trees, bushes, that kind of stuff. Because if you do that just all the time, it ain't gonna look quite right now, is it? It's gonna look kind of strange for you. So just, and if you do, maybe I just kind of cover it up right there, just like that. I do put a little bit of dark color on our brush. Maybe we'll extend this one out over. That's going to go behind that one. There, like that. And we'll take our, now this is going to get a little tricky because I screwed up. Should have had this one first because it looks like it's behind this one. So we'll have to redo our deal over here. I'll show you in just a second. I'm going to get some more titanium white. I runned it out. It's okay. We got plenty of in a tube here, so we'll just put a little bit more on the old palette there. And it will. Get some good titanium white there. There we go. And some liquid white. Liquid white is very, very thin. So, when you're gonna do this, just make sure you got either, some cover paper or tarp or something underneath you when you do this, because man, it will make a mess if you're not careful. Even if you're careful, it'll make a mess. Believe me. So you don't want that too much, or if you do, that's fine, I don't care. It's your house. But with my house, no, we don't want that too much. So we're gonna add some white, titanium white, and that little blue color. There's a little bit of liquid white. I'm gonna highlight these two trees real quick. I was gonna do the bushes, but then I thought, no, you need to do the trees first. Because the tree goes down into the bush, some of the bush is gonna cover the tree. So we're gonna just tap. And try to remember that you got where your light's coming from. So you want more light color coming from that side or on that side than you do the other side. So you're gonna have it all over your tree anyway, but remember, you can reload your brush as many times as you need to. And you'll keep picking up that undercolor, your base color of your tree. It'll be picked up a lot, and then you'll get a little darker. And you want that as you go down your tree. Your tree's gonna get naturally darker. Your highlights will. Like that. Then you got a pretty good looking little tree right there, don't you? Or at least I think so. I hope y'all like this. Because I really like it. So anyway, we're gonna get this highlights on this other tree over here, this big one, and just like that, same way, you're gonna have a little bit more on one side than the other. One of these days I'll learn how to talk real good. And like I say, you have to reload your brush quite a bit because there's a lot of paint right there. And the thin paint will stick to the thicker paint, but when you got this much paint underneath all this, it takes several reloads to get it to look right. But just keep it going. Like I say, if this is your first time to paint, if you're trying this, don't get too frustrated if it don't work quite like you wanted to the first time. It will. It just takes practice. And there we go. We got two nice little trees there. Well, he's a big one. So now we'll go to our highlight color on for our bushes. And that's just titanium white and liquid white. I'm gonna get that sucker full of paint. Full of paint. And then just do what we did over there. There's some bright little bushes here. And now we just do this. See there? Isn't he pretty? Yeah. Tell you what, that's gonna look good. Shoot, I think we got her. I believe we may have a pretty good little bush right there. this one, these we're not going to cover up like we did those over there. We're getting this one just about wrapped up. But we're going to do this first, and we're going to put the paint or the snow in there. Now we're going to snow it right along this, because that looks kind of strange, doesn't it? It don't look like much of nothing right there. So we got the titanium white, liquid white on your brush now, on your big 2-inch brush. You could do this with the 1-inch brush as well, but the 2-inch brush, what I'm going to do here is start at this end and go this way, because I don't want to mess those bushes up. Don't worry too much about this here, because we will get this and we'll get it. A little bit of snow back there behind that. There we go, like that. Now we'll take our bush colors, our bush highlights, titanium white and liquid white. That's it. And we'll highlight this side over here. We'll start with this little fella here. He's a good looking little bitty bush. And then we'll go over here just like this one. Now you gotta start just above the top of that color, the color. So as you don't. Ooh, excuse me. You go just above that right there, or just right at the top of it. Because the top will have the most snow on it, and everything else will go below it. And you're just kind of back and forth here. You're just going to get the kind of bush you like. If you don't like the way the oval brush looks for as far as bushes, go to a round, or even the 1-inch brush makes really nice bushes as well. But you can just use the corner of these round brushes and make all kinds of cool looking bushes and trees and all kinds of good stuff. Right now we're just going to finish up these bushes, and then we'll put some sticks and twigs in there and a little bit of a signature, and we'll be all set. As one of my old teachers used to say, I think we got her if she don't jump. I do believe he was right there. I think we do have her if she don't jump. We're having a pretty good little painting here, I think. I always find something that I need to improve on, and I think you will too. I mean, if you're like me, you're never satisfied with your painting. It just makes you get better and better, from the way I think anyway. It does me. So like I say, don't try not to get too discouraged in how these look. It just makes you want to try harder and improve. Cause shoot, if you just had a masterpiece right out of the gate, you wouldn't want to try and improve it, would you? You just keep it as is. So you want to, at least my way of thinking, you just want to try and improve every time you get. So if you're doing this, like I say, just give me a shout. Hopefully you're enjoying the way I do things. And then we're going to grab a little bit of that color with the big 2-inch brush with the snow on it. And then we're going to go right in front of that one. And then we'll just pick up some of that color. And if you want brighter snow, you just take you some liquid white on your brush and go over it once. Clean your brush and go over it again. And give it a little bit of the color in there for shadows. And something like that right there happens, and we got a little more depth to your painting. So we're going to take our little brushes here, our little knife, and just scratch in a couple of twigs, sticks, or whatever. You can do this with a script liner brush too, but just in your dark here, just scrape in a few trunks and limbs and whatnots of your bushes here. Trying to keep the twigs and sticks here in the dark areas, because that's where your sticks and twig lives. They live in the dark. They're what holds all these pretty things up. Right? Got to have a stick or a twig in there, a trunk or a branch, to hold all these pretty little leaves and snow up. Don't forget this side over here. You don't want them to fall down. And remember, if you see something you like, these haven't been, I hadn't put these on my website, the ones that are in my videos yet. I like to give them a little bit of time to dry before I put them up for sale. But if you see one you like, and you'd like to purchase one of my paintings, please go to jroilpaintings.com, all one word, capital J, capital R, and you'll see some of my other work that's out there. And if you find one you like, but you don't want to, or can't quite afford what I got up there, my email is on my website. Just drop me an email and we'll see what we can do as far as getting you something, as far as maybe we can dicker with the price just a little bit. I am trying to sell these right now, so I would love for you to go over and peruse what I've got, and hopefully you'll find one you like or can afford, or both. We're going to go ahead and sign this one, and you can sign your painting any way you want to do it. I'm lazy, so I just put in my initials and I sign in blue. I usually use phthalo blue. And look at that, a J and an R. And I always put, or well, I do now. There was one year I didn't put the year that I painted them, a couple of years ago, but I started doing it again. So 2 and a 6. My memory's not too good, so I don't ever remember when I painted these things. So that is a done painting, and with just 4 different colors. So give it a shot, and like I say, if you're having any trouble, just drop me a line in the comments, and maybe I can help you out. I'm gonna sign off for tonight, and we'll be back in a couple of days with a new video. So you have a good night, and we'll talk to you later. Bye.